You wake up with one day left to live. You just don't know it yet. Gray light through the shutters, a straw mattress in a back room behind your shop in a Roman city called Pompeii. The year is 79, and the thing that kills most people here today won't be lava, it won't be fire, it'll be the air itself. But that's hours away. Right now, you just have to open the shop. You're about 30, freeborn. You own this little business, you owe rent on it, and you're one bad week from losing both. Not rich, not poor. Like almost everyone on your street, you survive on what you sell today. So you pull on your tunic and step outside, and the street is already alive. Walls covered in painted writing, election posters, adverts, insults, somebody's name next to a filthy joke. A cart grinds past in ruts worn deep into the stone, and the smell of bread, because 3 doors down, the baker is already sliding fresh loaves into his oven. Hold on to that bread. You'll meet it again. You go to the public fountain because your home has no water of its own, and as you bend to fill your jug, you feel it. A small shudder in the ground. You barely look up. And that's the part your modern mind can't understand. You've felt the earth move your whole life. When you were a boy, a huge earthquake broke this city, and 17 years later, it's still not fully fixed. Scaffolding on the temples, cracks no one ever repaired. So when the ground trembles this morning, you don't think danger, you think the ground does that here. And you go back to work. Behind the city sits a green, gentle mountain covered in vineyards. It's always just been there. You don't know it's a volcano. There's no such word in your world, no warning, no one whose job it is to tell you to run. That's not your ignorance, that's your whole civilization's. Then, sometime after midday, the sky tears open. A column of smoke and rock punches straight up off the mountain, taller than anything you've ever seen, flattening at the top like a giant pine tree. People stop. They point. Nobody screams. Not yet. Some climb onto their roofs to get a better look. Then it starts to rainstone. The first pumice is pale, almost white, light little rocks bouncing off your shoulders. It doesn't even hurt, but it doesn't stop. And within the hour, your street isn't a street anymore. It's a rising slope of stone climbing your walls inch by inch. Now comes the first real choice of your life. Close the shop and run west, away from the mountain, while the roads are still open. Or stay. Stay to guard everything you own. Stay because surely it has to end soon. Here's the cruel part. Leaving right now is the single thing most likely to save you. The people who walk out in this first hour, who turn their backs on everything, those are the ones who live. But almost nobody runs first, because if you're enslaved, you don't decide when you leave. If your father is old and can't move fast through the stone, you have to choose. Carry him or save yourself. If your child is across the city, you're not leaving without them. So you wait. One more hour. Just one. And every hour, the stone climbs higher. It piles onto the rooftops now, and these tile roofs were never built to hold this weight. So here's your trap. Stay outside, and the falling rock gets heavier. Go inside, and the roof becomes the thing that crushes you. Every safe choice has a knife hidden inside it. By nightfall, the light is gone. Not like sunset, like someone slowly lowering a lid over the world. The pale stone turns dark gray. Dust fills your eyes, your throat, your chest. The ground shakes harder now, over and over, shaking buildings already cracked from years ago. And some people who survived all of it, the stone, the dark, the hours, were killed in this exact moment when a weakened wall finally fell on them. They did everything right. The earthquake took them anyway. Then near dawn, something feels like mercy. The stone stops falling. Do not trust it. This is when survivors crawl out, blinking into the buried streets, certain the worst is over. It isn't. High on the mountain, that towering column is collapsing in on itself, and what it sends down is the thing that's been waiting for you the entire time. Not lava. There was never any lava. A pyroclastic surge, a low, fast churning wall of ash and scalding gas that pours down the slope and across the ground faster than anyone alive can run. Now you understand why hiding under furniture wouldn't save you, why even the water from your fountain wouldn't save you. You can't outrun the air. You can't hold your breath against it. When it reaches Pompeii, it may last only 10 or 20 minutes. The shortest part of the whole disaster is the part nobody survives. So how do we know any of this if you didn't live to tell it? Because the city kept your mourning, the cart ruts, the painted insults, and those loaves of bread found in that same oven 2,000 years later baked the morning the world ended. We know it from the bodies, too. They rotted away inside the hardened ash and left hollow spaces, exactly human-shaped. Centuries later, people poured plaster into the empty pockets. That's what the famous bodies of Pompeii really are. Not petrified people, shapes of absence, the space where someone used to be, and we believed we knew their stories, until we didn't. One cast was always described as a mother in a bracelet holding her child. Then they tested the DNA. The adult was male, not related to the child at all. We'd been telling ourselves a comforting story. The bones told a different one. More than 1,000 people died here, but the city held many thousands more, and most of them got out. That's what the films forget. The horror was never that everyone died. The horror is that ordinary people, on an ordinary morning, were asked to read a danger no one had ever taught them existed, and the ones who waited just one more hour, to pack, to wait, to be sure, those are the ones we dig up. So here's the only question that matters. If your old father couldn't run, and the stone was already falling, and the light was already dying, would you stay with him in the dark, or would you leave?